You would think that after Liko and friends got such a big win, finally getting the heroes back, things would be smooth sailing from here on out. You'd think they'd be able to resume their adventure and continue down the path towards what they ultimately have to accomplish, which is vanquishing Lakuium for good. You'd think now it's time for them to start gathering the 12 Pokemon on the level of the heroes that they need to actually fulfill said mission. Unfortunately, things are about to get quite sour thanks to Spinel. At the end of the previous episode, even though he was confident throughout that Liko and friends wouldn't be able to defeat the heroes, he revealed that he had a backup plan just in case Liko and friends did win, which they did. His backup plan was to smear them in the eyes of the public once again. Just like what happened at the end of episode 89, going into Mega Voltage. He once again makes the public believe that the Rising Bolt Tacklers are evil, this time by saying that they took, by force, the heroes who were supposedly rescued at Mount Pericarp and under the care of the explorers. So now, Liko and company, the Rising Bolt Tacklers, are villains who cannot be trusted once more, which immediately puts us back where we were at the start of Mega Voltage. People will openly distrust and hate the Rising Bolt Tacklers. In episode 126, Liko and friends will go to Naranja Academy with the goal of presenting their findings to Clavell and Geeta. The last time they were here, they tried to get the school and its leadership on their side to help stop the spread and release of strong spheres. But back then, Clavell and Geeta basically said that their hands were tied until Liko and friends could provide more information and evidence. I remember calling this out when I reviewed that episode 101, because it was disappointing. They basically said, "We trust you, we believe you, but we are not actually going to help you directly yet." Well, now Liko and friends do have enough evidence, but they're also seen in a negative light again. And judging by the preview, it looks like Clavell and Geeta still won't help them. They seem hesitant and reluctant, so I'm wondering what exactly is going on here. Do they actually believe Spinel? Did the smear work? Do they suddenly distrust Liko and friends, even though they've seen firsthand that they're not criminals or villains? Or, and this feels more likely, is it a case of we still believe you, we still trust you, but now helping you publicly would be bad PR? Before it was, we believe you, but you don't have enough evidence. Now, it's you have enough evidence, but helping you would reflect badly on us. If Naranja Academy openly supports people who are publicly labeled as villains, that image transfers to the school. This is something that happens in real life all the time. Even if you trust someone and believe in them, you might not support them publicly if they carry a negative image, because that negativity spills over onto you. I get it, but at the same time, it's awful. You'd think the Academy would have their backs, especially since Liko, Roy, and Dot were students. You'd expect the school to have even its former students' best interests in mind and help guide them through a situation like this. But it looks like they cannot rely on Naranga Academy anymore. Now, this is just my assessment based on what we see and hear in the preview. I do want to give Geeta and Clavell the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe they will still side with Liko and friends and try to help them. That said, it does make sense that Spinel's actions have even bigger repercussions this time. Before, he didn't really have evidence. He just said the Rising Bolt Tacklers were evil. Now he has video proof. Manipulated, yes, but still tangible evidence. This might be enough to shift public perception even more strongly than before. Maybe even enough to turn people who previously trusted Liko and company. This is honestly crazy and really unfortunate. However, while this is serious, it's also clear that the real focus of this episode will be Dot's doppelganger, Dash. The last time we saw her, back in episode 95, she attended the event hosted by Exceed and the Explorers that showcased and hyped up strong spheres. And she wasn't just present, she was brought on stage to test them firsthand and demonstrate their power to everyone in attendance. The result was that her Swanna defeated an Electivire despite the massive type disadvantage. While Dash was clearly happy that Swanna suddenly became so strong, it was also clear that she was worried, since after the battle, Swanna didn't look okay at all. The effects of Lacuium were evident. Fast forward to episode 126, and despite seeing that things weren't exactly perfect, she still ordered a strong sphere anyway. The preview shows her unboxing it. Maybe she convinced herself it wasn't a big deal. Maybe she thought Swanna was just tired. Or maybe the power boost was so significant that she chose to ignore the obvious negatives if it meant gaining that strength. Either way, getting a strong sphere isn't even the most important thing she will do in this episode. What really matters is that she will battle Liko. This battle clearly has meaning. It's not a casual long time no see, let's battle for fun situation. This is a battle meant to prove something. It's about showing Dash the error of her ways. Liko and friends will almost certainly try to talk sense into her, but she's clearly going to refuse to listen. Presumably because of her own insecurity about strength, she wants to be strong no matter what, and also because she's going to believe what's being said about Liko and friends. Meaning she won't trust what they say, especially since they clearly oppose Exceed and the Explorers, the people behind the strong spheres and the perceived good guys, leaving Liko with no other option but to battle her, aiming not just to win, but also to prove that strong spheres are wrong, and that real strength comes from bonds, believing in your Pokemon, battling together as one, and growing naturally instead of relying on artificial power. At the same time, it's a chance for Liko and friends to prove themselves. In the preview, we hear how discouraged they are by being labeled as bad guys, but we also see that they still believe their journey matters, that the people they've truly connected with will still stand by them. Nemona and Penny being next to them in the preview makes it clear that they're right. Dash, however, hasn't spent nearly as much time with them as Nemona and Penny have, so she falls for the lie. We also hear Liko talking about believing in their bonds, which won't lose to the Explorers. This has a double meaning. It can mean that the bonds they've formed with people won't be broken by lies, but it also refers to the bonds between trainer and Pokemon. Bad people treat Pokemon like tools. They don't care about their well-being. They just use them to win, to dominate, to feed their ego. Liko will prove that her bond with Meowscarada is stronger than anything built on artificial power and is born from her pure heart. At the same time, Dash's bond with Swanna, or rather, the lack of trust she has in it, will be exposed. The title of this episode, A Battle You Can't Afford to Lose, the bond that's put to the test, really says it all. Multiple bonds will be tested. Liko's bond with her friends, the people they've met in their journey, Meowscarada, and Dash's bond with Swanna. There's no doubt in my mind that Liko will win, even with the type disadvantage. She has to prove their innocence, to expose the dangers of strong spheres, and to snap Dash out of her delusion. The preview reinforces this by showing Swanna battered, clearly past its limit, yet still fighting. Even when Dash tries to withdraw it, it keeps going. A terrifying example of what strong spheres do. Force Pokemon to fight even when they physically can't anymore. This should be enough to make Dash realize what she's done. This episode sets a worrying precedent, however. What if Liko and friends must confront other people they know who fall for the lies? This would be heartbreaking, but also incredibly compelling. One last detail worth mentioning is that Dash's strong sphere appears to be the standard model, not the advanced, super strong spheres used on the heroes. This suggests that the upgraded version still isn't ready for public release. But yeah, this episode is shaping up to be emotionally charged, tense, and uncomfortable. Being blamed, distrusted, and forced to fight a friend to clear your name and protect a Pokemon from being harmed is intense. Even if the animation ends up being nothing special as is tradition by now, the weight and meaning of this battle will absolutely matter. And I really like that they chose Dash for this role. She was the one who saw strong spheres firsthand in episode 95, tested them, and still chose the wrong path. Using her keeps the story tight, adds value to her appearance in that episode, and reinforces one of the biggest strengths this series has, making even minor characters feel relevant. Also, Nico and Rob, the doppelgangers of Liko and Roy, will also appear. Who knows where they will stand? Will they side with Dash, who they are closer to, or with Liko and friends? Either way, things are about to get heated in a very different way than what we're used to. Which is why I cannot wait to watch this episode when it airs on February 6th. Once it does, I will of course review it eventually, so please stay tuned for that. Also, please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, feel free to click the links on screen. And if you'd like to support the channel and help me keep making content like this, you can find all the ways to do so in the description and in the pinned comment. Whether it's through a small donation or just watching and sharing, every bit of support means the world to me. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.